All right, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I am going to call the Executive Committee meeting to order. As a reminder, this meeting is being held as a virtual meeting with members of the committee participating remotely. In addition, the meeting is being streamed live on the TRCA website. Electronic devices which emit a sound should be turned off or otherwise set to vibrate or silent. Please ensure your computer microphone and sound are also muted. I would like to remind members to please ensure cameras are turned on. The clerk will now conduct attendance and call it the name of each member.
Great, thank you. Good morning. Ainsley?
Here.
Barton?
Present.
Thank you. Carol? Dyes?
Present.
Fletcher?
Here.
Fonseca will be arriving late. Jackson has sent regrets. Morley?
Present. Good morning, everyone.
Pellegrini?
Greetings, present.
Peruzza?
Present.
Thank you. Santos?
Present.
And Sachs.
Present.
Thank you.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Madam Clerk. For the land acknowledgement on behalf of the Executive of the Toronto Region and Conservation Authority, I would like to say we respectfully acknowledge that we're situated on traditional territories and treaty lands, in particular those of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, as well as the Haudenosaunee of the Williams First Nations, the Huron-Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, and the Métis Nation. As stewards of land and water resources within the Greater Toronto Region, the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority appreciates and respects the history and diversity of the land and is grateful to have the opportunity to work and meet in this territory. Thank you. At this point, I'm going to ask if there are any members of the committee who wish to disclose a pecuniary interest. Hearing none, seeing none. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting held on October 7th, 2022, moved by Amber Morley. All in favor? That carries. Delegations. We do not have any delegations today. Next item is presentations. There are no presentations. Followed by correspondence. We have no correspondence. We will move on to the consent agenda. I am going to read out each item on the agenda that may be approved on consent. Members of the executive committee, if you would like to hold an item, if you could please let me know by your intention, either verbally or by hand. The person that holds the item will be given the opportunity to speak first when the item is brought forward. And if an item is not held, the motion is deemed to be approved as written and will be recommended for adoption at the February 17th Board of Directors meeting. Item under section number 1, 8.1, request for tender for supply and delivery of various aggregates to Bluffers Headland. This is phase 3. Any holds? Seeing none. Item 8.2, vendor of record arrangement for rental of operated heavy construction equipment. This is a contract extension. Any holds?
I have a question.
Sorry, who is that?
Sorry, it's Diane Sachs. I would like to ask a question about that one.
Okay, so Diane, we'll hold that down under your name.
Thank you.
Okay, 9.1, acquisition from Valley Major Developments Limited.
Sorry if I may, Chair Ainsley, we just need a mover for item 8.1.
Oh, okay. Could I have a mover for 8.1, please? Steve Pellegrini. Sorry, do I need seconders, Joanne?
Sorry, through the chair, just for the board, you need seconders, so executive
Okay.
just need a mover.
All right, moved by Steve Pellegrini. All in favor? And that carries. 8.2 is held by Diane Sachs. Section 2 is items for executive committee action. 9.1, acquisition from Valley Major Developments Limited in the city of Vaughan. Any holds? Seeing, can I do this as, do I need a mover for each one, Joanne?
through the chair, you can go through each item, and then at the end, you can move all of them as under one consent
All right.
agenda.
Perfect. Item 9.2, lease renewal for treetop trekking. No holds. Item 9.3, application for permits pursuant to section 28.0.1 of the Conservation Authorities Act for Mayfield developments in Caledon. No holds on 9.3. 9.4, Human Resources and Payroll Information System. This is a contract extension. No holds. Section 9.5, Infrastructure Canada Disaster Mitigation and Adaptation Fund Renewal. No holds seen. I need a mover for the items in Section 2. Amber Morley, all in favor? That carries. Section 3, items for information of the board. 10.1, 2022 year-end funding and grants program update. Seeing no holds. 10.2, fourth quarter communications, marketing and events report summary, October 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022. Seeing no holds, can I have a mover for 10.1 and 10.2? Dave Barton, all in favor? That carries. And we are going back to 8.2, vendor of record, arrangement for rental of operated heavy construction equipment. This is a contract extension. Diane Sachs, you have questions of staff?
Yes, I have a question. So my question is about the equipment that's being rented. In my work as the Environmental Commissioner of Ontario, I was briefed on the totally disproportionate adverse impact on human health of diesel engines made prior to 2008. So my question is, does any of this equipment include diesel engines made before 2008?
To the chair, I'm going to ask our Director of Restoration and Infrastructure, Anil Vijaysurya, to respond. I know there was some interaction earlier in the week. Thanks for giving us a heads up on some of that, Councillor Sachs. And Anil, go ahead.
Absolutely, yeah, through you, Chair. Great question, Councillor. And the short answer is yes, that we do, through three service providers, they do use equipment that predates 2008. The one thing we are doing right now, we have baselined our current fuel consumption around kind of diesel fuel consumption to get a baseline of what that looks like. So that's roughly in the order of, you know, just over 30% right now in terms of kind of our emissions related to diesel. So part of our kind of sustainability activities going forward is looking at, you know, as we head to the 2025 timeframe and looking at the new contract for heavy equipment, what provisions we might be able to put around modernizing some of the equipment and looking at further sustainability metrics with our vendors. So that's planned over the course of the next couple of years as we look to that the future view of the heavy equipment that's being used.
Well, it's great to do something later, but the pre-2008 equipment is has a serious adverse impact on health now. What opportunities do we have to stop using the pre-2008 equipment, or at least insist that the engines be replaced?
At this point, contractually, we wouldn't have any specific provisions. However, we are able to, through our discussions ongoing with them, looking at, as you know, how they're looking at fleet renewal with the equipment that they're using. So that is kind of our channel right now through the ongoing discussion with these three vendors, is, you know, what provision there is to do that over the next period of time. One of the challenges right now also is the, you know, as we're looking to, you know, potentially, you know, what electrification might look like for some of these heavier equipment like excavators. You know, market-wise, they aren't readily available. However, I think through these ongoing conversations, we could look at, some of the fleet renewal for a third party.
Well,
We
that's,
are
I
doing
mean,
that.
yes, through the chair. I mean, yes, that's all great in the long run, but it doesn't do anything in the short run. We have a contract right now in front of us that you're asking us to approve. So we don't have to approve it exactly as it is without any restrictions on these very dirty, health damaging, as well as climate damaging pieces of equipment. What opportunities do we have in this contract? I mean, I certainly don't think we should be doing a 2-year extension of a contract for exceptionally dirty, health damaging equipment, especially for the TRCA. So if you're not prepared to have that conversation now, I would suggest that we just extend this contract for a couple of months to allow some proper conversations to take place. I certainly wouldn't support extending it as is if that's the situation that you're saying in 2025 we'll talk about it. I think that's way too late. But is there, how much time would you need to be able to revise the contract and come back to us with a contract that's more protective of human health?
So, through the chair, I would suggest. So, part of this is that the colored diesel percentages. We're actively, it's ongoing, that conversation. It's not that we would necessarily wait till 2025 to look at, what that transition looks like. But it's looking at part of the challenge is that we have to set kind of the baseline around the targets that we're looking across that fleet, so we can actually collect the data in terms of what percentage of that fleet is, for example, pre-2008, or what the future transition of the fleet would look like. So, we're still collecting that baseline information in partnership with our sustainability team at TRCA. So, I don't, contractually right now, we don't have, enough of the data to be able to do something in the shorter term. We have to kind of build towards that, and then set, in partnership with these vendors, look at what those appropriate baselines would be so that we can make that transition going forward. And colored diesel, in terms of the actual kind of overall, in terms of the heavy equipment that we're using, it's only a portion of the overall components. And in our own fleet, we're looking at incorporating biodiesel as part of our fleet renewal. So all the fleet equipment that we own and operate within ourselves, which is a significant percentage as well, which is around just over 40% in terms of gasoline and diesel. So we'll be, that's a big focus as per the report at the last meeting, the last board meeting as well, around fleet decarbonization.
But excuse me, Anil, you're answering a question I didn't ask. I didn't ask what are you doing to reduce the consumption of colored diesel. I asked specifically about the pre-2008 engines, which are uniquely bad for human health. So there are lots of diesel excavators and so on that were made in 2009 and 2010 and 2011. You're saying we don't have a contractual right, but I'm talking exactly about the contract. You're asking us to approve a contract, and if it doesn't include any provisions restricting to pre-2008 engines, then we're not including a provision that would be protective of human health. So is it possible for you to go back, if we give you a 2-month extension, you could go back to the vendor and explore the impact of a provision in this contract that would allow them to rent you equipment, but not equipment that has pre-2008 engines, correct?
Sorry, John, I saw your hand.
No,
John,
through the
did
chair.
you want to weigh in?
Through the chair, yes, to Councillor Sachs. I think I do want to hear the question, or I see a hand raised by the vice chair, but then I do have a suggestion, perhaps, that might involve us staying this down for, this particular matter, deferring it to the board, upcoming board meeting. I'm a little, I do, obviously, and there's some sensitivities on timing, but there's been some really good questions asked earlier in the week and that are being asked now by Councillor Sachs, and I would like with I would like to see what I can do specifically with contractors to answer some of those questions and to see if there is anything more that can be done prior to the board, but I do want to hear the question from the vice chair. Go ahead.
Vice Chair Barton?
Yes, hey, thank you very much. And I really like the direction this conversation's going. The issue I see is supply chain right now. You know, when we just ordered a snowplow recently, it's got almost a 2-year lead time for new diesel equipment. I think this is an issue that will quickly look after itself. But when you're dealing with forestry contractors, they need to have a full fleet. There are significantly more breakdowns when you have the new emissions equipment built into this equipment, so it isn't as reliable. And often they will have equipment like this as backups. So then to lock them in and say they can only use newer equipment, it might mean that we will run into issues with additional lead times. We won't hit the windows, the tight windows that we will have to have for things like bird habitat and when we can remove trees. This is more complex than just 2008. And I think, again, if we extend this contract for 2 years, this issue will look after itself because of because no one's going to run 20-year-old equipment. So that would just be my take. I think it's a really good point. I just think in this climate, in this economy, when we are struggling to get anyone to do any work, to stipulate how old the equipment has to be is probably a mistake if we want to have a decent return on taxpayer dollars. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Barton. Are there comments on this item? Seeing none, would anybody like to speak to this item?
Through the chair, I think, you know, I like I said, there's some really valid points, and you know, there's operational issues. Our report has been put forward this way, and I would like to see if we could perhaps obtain some supplemental information very quickly, because I am conscious of some of the considerations, the timing windows, the commitment to our municipal partners, and a lot of this is linked to critical path issues related to infrastructure by Toronto Water that is also has many linked to environmental benefits, etc. And so there's a lot of connections here. I do want to make sure that we use any opportunity and you know, this important question that's been raised, to see if there is something that our contractors can do in terms of their operations and equipment. So I want to see if we could possibly defer this until the board meeting, if that would be an appropriate course of action. But I do also see another hand.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, John. Amber.
Thanks, Chair. I wanted to just add or ask a question rather on this piece. I think as everyone has mentioned, these are really important points that Diane is raising. And I wonder if there is an opportunity to create a policy or sort of a principle of the TRCA as we go forward for all contracts as they are negotiated, to really consider this pre-2008 diesel machine or truck issue, so that it's not something that we have to sort of adjudicate contract by contract, but that it's something that across the board we are having a lens on as we go forward. So not sure what the best process would be for that, but I think it feels to me that that might be an appropriate thing for us to consider doing, or starting to look at implementing on a go forward.
I know Anil or Michael, there has been quite a bit, and thank you so much for the question. Through the chair, there has been quite a bit of work on fleet decarbonization. We have been, and especially with some of the, and I guess very appropriate and more stringent requirements associated with federal funding through the Disaster Mitigation Adaptation Program that we have been working on and implementing and with our partners. There are requirements related to biodiesel. There are requirements related to fuels that are actually being built into some of those agreements. So it's a very good point. Anil, is there anything you wanted to add, or Michael, on that?
Through the chair, nothing beyond that, John, but to the point that is definitely something we're looking at over the next period of time as we look at kind of our fuel mix and what vendors are able to provide, and as they're looking to renew that equipment. So that's going to be an ongoing conversation as to what types of language we can start to embed within our contracts. So it's a great point, and it's definitely top of mind.
Okay. Can we take that? Sorry, Amber, can we take that as direction on that, or did you want to move a motion to that?
No, I think that's fine for now. And I think to the point around deferral on this item, if and when it comes back to the wider board, I think it might be a better time to consider a motion and have a discussion if staffs feel that would be a helpful support. But I'm encouraged that those conversations and considerations are already part of the conversation. So thank you.
I'm sorry,
Could I
Ann,
make-
are you
yeah,
okay with deferring this to the board?
I am absolutely okay to defer it to the board, but I would ask, please, that we not confuse decarbonization and toxic air contaminants. They're both important. We address both of them by getting rid of old diesel engines. But my particular question is about health directly related to the contamination, the air contaminants that come from the old diesel engines. And I don't want that to be confused with the general progress of decarbonization. They're different. So I would ask that when this comes to the board, we distinguish the two of them, please. Thank you.
Okay. John and Anil, can we take that as direction as well?
Yes, thank you. Understood. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. So we are going to refer this item for further discussion at the board meeting, our next board meeting. All right. I will move that motion. All in favor? Carried. And I believe that was our last item of business.
Nope, sorry, through the chair, we have 11.1 that we'll need to address as well.
Sorry, I didn't scroll down far enough. Under section 0.4, Ontario Regulation 166/06 is amended, major permit applications requiring approval. 11.1, standard delegated permits for receipts, staff approved and issued. Would anybody like to hold this item? Seeing none, can I have a mover, please? Paula Fletcher, all in favor? Carried. We have two items under closed session. I'm just going to run through them first and see if there's any holds, and then to see if we need to go into closed session or not. 12.1 is our update on our food service agreement as of February 2023. Any holds on that item? Seeing none. 12.2 is...
Well, Mr. Chair, it's Peruzza.
Anthony?
Not really a hold, but maybe if we could just go into camera and just get a sort of a verbal update on where this is all going, right, and what happens, because I for one just want to know what happened, and because I know these folks came in with anyway. Let's go into camera, okay?
Okay. All right. You have questions of staff, or you just want an update further than what's in the report?
An update, and then I may have some questions, and then I might want to speak, and then I may want to make some motions, and then I may want to vote, and then I may want to call adjournment at the end of it all.
Okay, we could consider all those things for you.
Exactly.
All right, so we'll hold 12.1 in Anthony Prutz's name. 12.2, TRCA's new administrative building project. It's a financial update as of January 2023.
Why don't you hold that in my name as well? Let's take that into camera too.
All right, we will take 12.2. I will hold that in Anthony Prutz's name as well. So at this point, I am going to move that the executive move into closed session pursuant to subsection C-4-2G of the TRCA's Board of Directors Administrative Bylaw, as the subject matter includes advice is subject to solicitor-client privilege, and section C-4-E of the TRCA Board of Directors Administrative Bylaw, as the subject matter consists of litigation or potential litigation affecting the TRCA. All in favor? That carries, and we'll give you a moment.
Okay, through the chair, we are live now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. To members of the Executive Committee and the public that are watching, so we had two items that we were just in camera for. The first one, 12.1, update on food services agreement as of February 2023. So we do have a motion before us that it is recommended the report regarding update on food service agreement as of February 2023 be received, and that the recommendations listed within the report regarding update on food services agreement February 2023 be approved. All in favor? And that item carries.
Sorry,
the other item.
Sorry, through the chair, just want to clarify that it was Councillor Morley that had made that motion.
Yes. And our second item, 12.2, TRCA's new administrative building project financial update as of January 2023. We have a motion before us. It is recommended that the report regarding TRCA's new administrative building project financial update as of January 2023 be approved. It was moved by...
I'm happy to move that, Mr. Chair.
All right,
Peruzza.
Thank you, Anthony. Moved by Councillor Anthony Peruzza. All in favor? That carries. We have one item of new business that I would just like to honor one of our volunteers who recently passed away, Lisa Millette. Lisette was a dedicated and longtime TRCA volunteer, a member of the Regional Watershed Alliance and champion for the Humber River and its cultural heritage. Lisette recently passed away after a 6-month battle with cancer. Lisette was an Acadian Métis professional artist, design illustrator, translator, historian, storyteller, nature interpreter, and project manager. Lisette has been part of the TRCA family since she began working with us in 1992, first as a member of the Humber Heritage Committee, then as a member of the Humber Watershed Alliance, and later the Regional Watershed Alliance, where she played a pivotal role in shaping and guiding the TRCA's Youth Council. As part of the Humber Heritage Committee, Lisette successfully championed the Humber River's nomination to be recognized as a Canadian Heritage River under the Canadian Heritage River System in 1999. Once the Humber River received this national designation, Lisette continued to work with the TRCA on various CHRS projects and initiatives that promoted the cultural and recreational values of the Humber River as designated a Canadian Heritage River. These included the Humber Bridge Inventory, the Humber by Canoe, and the celebration for the Humber River's 20th anniversary as a Canadian Heritage River in 2019. One of Lisette's most noteworthy accomplishments was assembling a team of City of Toronto and TRCA staff in collaboration with Heritage Toronto and La Société de l'Histoire de Toronto to create a historical park and associated educational plaques along the Humber River in Toronto called Le Sentier Partage, or the Shared Path. This was the first bilingual park in Toronto where stories of the First Nations and the arrival of the Europeans are told along the Toronto Carrying Place Trail. This project involved the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, the Six Nations of the Grand River, and the Huron-Wendat Nation, and constituted a precedent in relation building and Indigenous consultation for urban parks development. Lisette was dedicated to the Humber River, promotion of the French language, and Indigenous engagement. In addition to her direct work with the TRCA, Lisette was also president of La Société de l'Histoire de Toronto, a board member of the Toronto Historical Association, a member of the Culinary Historians of Canada, and a member of Heritage Toronto. Lisette's passion and dedication were unmatched, and her dynamic and engaging personality will be greatly missed by all who knew her, including TRCA staff and Regional Watershed Alliance members who have worked very closely with her over the years. On behalf of the Toronto Region Conservation Authority and the executive and the board of directors of the TRCA, I would like to extend our condolences and prayers to Lisette and her family and friends. She will truly be remembered as a partner, champion, and friend of the Toronto Region and Conservation Authority. Thank you, everyone. And our final item of business, just a reminder, the next meeting of the Executive Committee is to be held on March 3rd, 2023 at 9:30 a.m. Can I have a motion to adjourn our meeting today?
I'm happy
I'm
to-
happy to do that, Mr. Chair.
All right,
as you know.
Anthony Prutz is moving adjournment. All in favor of adjournment?
favor.
Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate everybody's input.